Hello, crawlers! Welcome to Project Geekology, episode 167. Congratulations! Against all odds, you've survived the collapse of civilization, entered the world dungeon, and somehow convinced yourselves that reviewing Dungeon Crawler Carl was a good idea. Today, our hosts will be discussing the first two floors of this exciting new adventure. Expect goblins, expect explosions, expect one extremely angry former Coast Guardsman and a cat who is already convinced she's the most important person in the universe. Viewer discretion is advised. Viewer enjoyment is mandatory. Good luck, crawlers. Now get out there and kill, kill, kill. My name is Dakota. I got ahead of myself there for a second. My name's Dakota. I'm 1/4 of the hosts for the Project Geekology podcast, and I am joined as always with
Anthony, and good job, Dakota. Yeah, we are doing book 1 of Dungeon Crawler Carl. And I'm excited to hop into that, but you know that Dakota and I can't do it alone. I'm going to throw it over to another one of our hosts.
Rich, just out here pushing my cart around, not knowing what's going on. Or maybe I know more than I let on. But we can't do it alone. We're rounding out this quartet with...
Hey, I'm Jen, Dakota's wife. Didn't know his voice could sound like that. Slightly unsettled.
Did I do it? How was
You actually did good. Yeah. What do you think, Ed?
Yeah, that was crazy. I was about to see if we could tag Jeff into that.
Oh man, I love that character so much. She has a surprising amount of growth throughout the series. Or growth is an interesting term. Anyway, I have read the Dungeon Crawler Carl series up through most of book 7. I'm almost done with book 7, and then book 8 is the most recent to date. And I've been talking about it for a couple weeks on the show just because I'm enjoying the heck out of it. It's just one crazy adventure after another. Each floor is completely different once you get past the first book. And as such, the stories get completely different. But I was really excited to finally get my co-host to read and or listen to the first book, Dungeon Crawler Carl. And I'm so excited to hear what you guys have to say, your theories, all that good stuff. I will say that Dungeon Crawler Carl is a tongue twister. It takes a while before you can say that quickly. And we will probably trip up a little bit. So apologies. But yeah, what have we been up to this past week, guys? Let's start with Jen. Everyone loves starting with Jen.
I don't like starting with Jen because I forget what I did during the week. I mean, I listened to Dungeon Crawler Carl. Is that not enough?
No, that's enough.
How do you guys consume so much media?
I will say that reading a book is
I was
more
creating
involved.
A person.
Yeah, you got a baby in you. You're almost fully baked.
That's what I've been up to.
Very nice, very nice. And yes, I think for most of us, this is probably the biggest thing that we've consumed media-wise this past week. So it's okay. Yeah, reading a book is a lot more involved than just watching a TV show or whatever. Kudos to Udos.
Thanks, man.
Anthony?
Yeah, we went through that first book. It definitely... And it's not like in a bad way that it's like time consuming, but you do have to... I don't know, for me, when it comes to listening to something like that, I don't know how people do like a bunch of other stuff while they're like listening to like audiobooks or like something important, because like I feel like I would be missing out on a lot of stuff. That's why like I'll only put on stuff that I know that I've heard or I've seen like while I'm doing like chores around the house. But when it comes to stuff like this or like watching One Piece, like I have to be locked in. Like I can't be doing the other stuff, because before you know it, like especially like the audiobook, like the narrator said like 50 things, and you're like, wait, what was it that he just said? And then you have to go back again, and I just I prefer not to do that. So yeah, I kind of lock in with that. I watched this TV series. It's based off of a Stephen King book. It's called The Institute. So I watched I think they're coming out with the second season, but I think that the whole season like covered the book. So I guess they're trying to expand on that world. But yeah, I watched It was 8 episodes. I pulled a Rich and like I watched the whole thing yesterday.
Nice.
I actually like hardly ever do that. But yeah, no, like that's.
Did you enjoy it at least?
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, it was insane.
Where is it streaming or being?
So it's on MGM Plus, but I did like one of those. You know how Amazon you could like subscribe to
get,
some
like,
of their
little
stuff for
packages,
like a
yeah.
week.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
a trial for a week. So I'm pretty much doing that, and so yeah, like I watched all that this week. Actually, I think it was as of recording. Today is Thursday. Supergirl dropped today, right? Or tonight?
I think it's in theaters today. Yes.
Yeah. So, but I think the official release day is tomorrow. But I want to see that this weekend if I can.
Nice. What about you, Rich? What have you been up to?
I can't remember if I told you guys this last week. I finished Sopranos again. Just kind of ran through it. Just love doing that. Kind of focusing on a new character as I go through it and kind of trying to pick up on things they've done a little bit more. And then let's see. I'm a day away from Lego Batman, the new comprehensive game, finally arriving. I'm getting the deluxe edition. I am beyond thrilled. I just love the Lego games. Charlie's going to go away for 12 days this summer. My man, listen, ladies and gents, it's 12 days of no responsibilities. So
Charlie is his son.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Fellow listener.
You guys should pay attention on the show, so you know that kind of stuff. I don't understand. Dakota shouldn't have to tell you that. I don't care.
There's a high probability this is their first episode, especially because Dungeon Crawler.
Well, then welcome. I'm sorry. I'm so rude. Welcome, everyone. How are you guys doing? So differently for me, obviously. So I actually do almost every single thing in my life with 95 things going on at the same time. So actually, this was kind of cool because you forced me to read, which I just I tend to binge read. So I basically did 3 sessions of 3 hours and knocked the book out. That's how I kind of went through it. I was kind of putting down 120 something pages every read. I do not want to do the audiobook. I will never do the audiobook, but I'll discuss that a little later. Just to wrap up, I'm having World Cup fever. Just switching jerseys every day because I hedge my bets and I got a couple different countries in my closet just in case. But no, having a good time watching it. Not having a good time as a season ticket holder of the New York Mets. For those of you guys who don't listen, and this is your first time, I comically bought season tickets for the first time in 43 years, and this is the worst the team has ever been in my lifetime, I think, at this point in the year. So the joke's on me, but that's it. And I'm going to pass it all the way back to you, Dakota. What have you been up to, sir?
That just means that season tickets are going to be cheaper next year. So who's really winning?
That's not how that
Not
works.
Rich.
Not me, buddy.
Them.
Yeah, I haven't been up to too much. I've been really busy with work and getting the house prepared for our own child, Jen and I's child. That was a weird sentence.
The breezeway.
But I'm deep into book 7 of Dungeon Crawler Carl, and if you guys ever make it that far, holy cow. It is a different world. It is I can't even describe it, but the character changes that happen over the course of these 7 books, not just to Carl and Donut, but all the side characters that you meet along the way, you just start really loving these individuals, and they get sent through the ringer all the time. And yeah, what's happening right now, I really have no idea how they're going to get out of it. And that's the best part about the series. You have no idea what Matt Dinniman, the writer, how he's going to dungeon master his way with these characters through the dungeon. And I think that's a fair way to segue into our discussion.
What floor are you on in 7?
Book 7 is floor 9.
Okay.
Yeah, book 7 is floor
Isn't that
9.
the farthest anybody goes?
The furthest anyone has ever been
No,
in the dungeon
is level 13, buddy. And it was a guy and he died.
Yeah, he only lasted 30 minutes or so and on the 13th
Alright.
floor.
Oh, so Carl's made it. Is this a spoiler?
Points for Rich, 2 demerits for Jen.
Is it a spoiler that Carl's made it to floor 9?
Yeah.
It's his series. He's the one writing it. You would hope that he would make it all the way to 18.
That's what you thought about Ned Stark.
Yeah, that's true.
You thought Ned Stark was going to be in this show the whole time, buddy.
It would be strange if Game of Thrones was in first person, like Ned Stark, throughout the entire narration, and then he's just like, and then my head fell off.
Let's see what my kids are up to.
Oh.
Oh, man. Anyway, so the dungeon. A little background before we begin. The world collapses. I think the book calls it the transformation or something like that, where at a certain point around 2 a.m. on a very cold January in Seattle, it's not just Seattle, but our story takes place in Seattle in the beginning. The whole world, every covered structure collapses. According to Carl, it's literally everything. If you're in a car, that collapses. If you're in a building or under some canopy, that collapses on you. You're done. You're gone.
What if you're outside but you're standing under a tree?
The trees, I think, don't collapse. From my understanding, there are trees still existent on the overworld. Or the surface, rather, is what they call it. But, yeah, so then you either have the opportunity to stay on the surface and try to fend for yourself, even though all governments have now collapsed, basically, and there's no immediate hope for you, or you can make your way through the dungeon. And about 13 million people enter the dungeon around the world, and Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Donut, decide they're going to go down. And yeah, let's start the discussion there. As far as a premise goes, Jen, what are your thoughts on the introduction to this? Is it stressful? Is it kind of comical? Somewhere in between?
I personally don't usually like dystopian books.
Right.
Which is why Dakota was trying to get me to read this for quite some time. And basically the only reason why I did it was like for the podcast, right? Sure. I don't know. I don't like extra stress in my life. And I was like, I don't really need this. But then pretty early on in the story, you can see that even though it is stressful, it is really funny. Like the idea of, I go out into the yard all the time in pretty unfortunate outfits to like see my dog. Like my neighbors see me in different kinds of robes and slippers and Crocs. And if I had to like survive in one of, like, now I think when I leave the house, it's like, could I survive in this? Because especially if you have pets, sometimes you just go out really fast and you're not wearing the most logical outfit.
You're really not.
But I thought it was a humorous start, which led to me getting more into it and kind of, I feel like a lot of times with like dystopian books, they start off, with this like tragedy and everybody was crying and all of this. It was kind of funny. Can I go into like after he enters the dungeon?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
After he enters the dungeon, that's the part that I wasn't a huge fan of right away. I'm the type of person, when I play video games, I just kind of skip the instructions a lot.
She skips the tutorials and then she's mad that she doesn't understand the controls.
I'm a logical being, and it's literally, I am a bit like Princess Donut. I really am starting to see it. I'm like, this isn't important. This is boring. I just want to play the game. And I skip like a bunch of the tutorial. So to have to like listen to a book tutorial for what felt like a really long time, the beginning was a bit frustrating for me.
I think that is important for the story, though.
Yes.
Because the characters need to know what they're doing or what their goal is immediately and in like the near future. So I did not have an issue with that. What about you guys? Anthony, did you particularly latch onto the introduction to the series, their entry into the dungeon? What did you think of Carl and Donut from the offset?
Yeah, like I think I would say that I latched on pretty early. I kind of understand where Jen is coming from, but like as a gamer that's played a lot of games, I'm the kind of person that I'm like, because sometimes the tutorial is drawn out too much. But I mean, in this case, I don't think that it was drawn out. I think it was like pretty to the point. And the thing that was thrown into the mix is that like when you're playing a video game, like you're playing a video game, whereas like Carl's like, what is going on? Like, why is this happening? Like the world literally just ended and now he has to like dungeon crawl like he's in Diablo. I understand it, but I do like it. I am into like the dystopian stuff just because, especially I like post-apocalyptic stuff. I'm a Fallout fan. So this is interesting because it is post-apocalyptic, but not in the same way that a lot of these others are, like, I Am Legend or like Fallout or War of the Worlds. This is like it's aliens, and they're making you pretty much do a reality TV show dungeon crawl. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Rich, what do you think about the inherent disadvantage that Carl is given as he enters the dungeon with his companion as well as his attire?
So I think like talking about this book will work out a lot of my issues. I really like it, but that makes me suspicious. Okay, so like let me explain. Like Ready Player One, right? You. I love Ready Player One, right? Like, but I also there's a part of me that also was like, it's so ridiculously catering to a very specific audience, right? Like, all right, like this book, it makes references to the A-Team, it makes references to Knight Rider, right? Like he walks in like in this ridiculous, humorous way, and it's absurd, and it's a little crass, It kind of reminds me a little bit of Outer Worlds. I don't know if you guys ever played that series. I love those. Outer Worlds 1 and Outer Worlds 2. I played them on PS5, and it's like you're going to different planets, and there's all these corporations in the universe, and it's very crass and ridiculous and absurd. It's just so absurd. You kind of don't even know what's happening as you're playing it. You kind of just got to go along with it, and it felt a lot like that. So the beginning is good. It hooks you in, but I don't know why. Like for a little bit, I almost kept myself at a safe distance from like falling head over heels, because I just kept going like, this is something you're supposed to like, Rich, and that always makes me a little suspicious. There's so much of it that I like that it's baffling to me. It's like it's too good to be true, or am I that much of a sad like easy formula to come like to whip up in like a whoop whoop whoop, here you go, video game stuff, here's some references to 80s TV shows, like it's just, I don't know, it's weird. I like it, and I like the beginning, but he's kind of a sad sack. He got dumped, but he's still taking care of his girlfriend's cat, right? Like a lot of gamer dudes who spend a lot of time watching 80s sitcoms in their houses and not going out, I think could be like, I could see myself getting dumped, like, and being out there, taking care of this dumb cat that I don't like, like I immediately was like, yeah, that sounds like that could be me, like that could have been something that happened in my past. And I, like Jen said, I walk out in ridiculous, like really ridiculous stuff, like
you don't walk out, like you walk to work in those outfits. That's the jarring part.
Well, if I'm saying that what I wear to work is not the most ridiculous, then let's just be clear. I'm talking like I used to put like Charlie's Crocs on when like they barely my foot really didn't go in, like it was just like my toes, and I was just like tiptoe outside in the snow, like literally. Like when I read that he had like undersized Crocs in the snow, I'm like, okay, sign me up. Like I've done that.
Been there.
The no pants thing. I kind of as a man who doesn't like to wear pants, I like shorts. I usually do like some sort of cover, but I did appreciate that too. So yeah, I thought it was a good start.
So I think his look, Carl's immediate, like he's given a kind of like a crippling start in terms of like he's got nothing. He even gets an achievement for bringing nothing into the into the dungeon. And
new achievement.
I love the AI and the stupid achievements and like descriptions it gives things. It is so funny.
The creepy one.
Oh my gosh, I know. I was listening to that part in my car, and I was like, I'm so uncomfortable.
Rich, and this is this is like a case for the audiobook. But when the AI describes the description for like Carl using his feet for stuff, it gets so creepy. I mean, we're talking about like stalker creeper like vibes.
Oh yeah, because it does. I mean, it's clear that there's a foot fetish kind of thing going on, right?
But the way he says it, it's like I'm like, yo, this thing is wild.
The narrator, Jeff Hayes, is
Incredibly talented.
incredible. He has created so many characters that I could pick out of a lineup at this point.
And does he do all of them except for, I mean, obviously when Patrick Warburton comes in, but
so occasionally.
Wait, did you say Patrick Warburton?
Yeah.
He just threw out the first pitch at a Mets game on Monday. Sorry, that's just random.
Oh,
He is an actor.
it's kind of a big deal.
What was this? Yeah. So occasionally they throw in like some sort of like one-off like voice actor or celebrity to like just voice like a single character that's usually only in it for like a chapter or whatever. And it's only happened like 2 or 3 times in the series. But Patrick Warburton had a longer time. He wasn't playing like a lot in the audiobook, but I think it's book 6 that he shows up intermittently. But yeah,
I'm excited for that.
For those who don't know, Patrick Warburton is known for many things.
Kronk.
Dauber.
Say that one more time.
He was Dauber on the show Coach.
Okay.
Okay.
He's also the guy who, if you've ever been to Epcot and you go onto the Soarin' Across the World ride, he's the flight attendant that gives you the okay to fly. Just like,
Nice work, Bill.
nice work, pal.
It's the best.
I love him. But anyway, back to Dungeon Crawler Carl. Donut takes a bite
love Donut.
out of a enchanted pet biscuit, something that Mordecai decides she should really eat that now. And almost immediately, not directly immediately, she turns into a pile of goo on the floor, hairy goo, and then 2 minutes later she pops up with an aristocratic princess accent. And what are our thoughts on Donut as a character? You can talk about Donut like from the entire book at this point. Jen, thoughts on Donut?
Honestly, what kind of question is that? I love Donut.
It'd be hard to read this and not love Donut. Yeah.
Donut is the character that just like, I really love Carl, obviously, but I just like, Dakota and I were driving in the car during the point where Carl tells the reader that Beatrice was planning on getting rid of Donut, and I like audibly gasped. I was just devastated. I love my cat. I love him so much. He's not loved by many, but he's absolutely adored by me. And just like the thought of him having like a voice, and cats are so proud and arrogant, and they're all the things that Donut embodies. And I love that this world loves Donut for being who she is. I also love like how much she wants to be adored and how much she panders to the audience.
Well, she's a show cat, you know.
She's a show cat.
She's won many a purple ribbon in her time.
I love the way that she tells Carl so many of the things Beatrice has been keeping from him.
Subtly, yeah. Just like
she doesn't like think about it or care.
Right before a battle, she'll just say something like, "Oh yeah, and this is what Beatrice would do if you were at the gym or whatever," and then.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
From digital security to social cohesion, the Resilience podcast series brings expert insights on strengthening civil society in challenging times. Listen to the latest episodes and join the conversation.
Or like when they're waiting for like the other guests, she's like, "Who do you think they are? Is it Beatrice and her boyfriend?" She does not care.
That was
about
wild,
how these things
actually.
make her feel or make Carl feel.
Who's Ferdinand?
Who is Ferdinand?
The thing that I like about this book is that it shows like how complicated like the world is, and that the villains, the quote unquote villains, at least like the crawler wise, it's not black and white. It's it's kind of gray with Frank and Maggie. Mm-hmm. And like you kind of get to know about their story when they go onto that show. And I see, and this is where, so I like Donut a lot, but I do really like Carl a lot too, because Carl like literally is one of those people that will say what a lot of people want to say. And like the way that when he went on that show and like started just cussing that orc out, like, come on, let's be real. Like, like when we got his attitude, like when Carl was like saying all that stuff, we're like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You tell him, Carl. You tell him.
Rich, you seem to scoff when Anthony said that there were certain characters that were more gray than black and white, specifically in regards to Frank, Q, and Maggie.
Yeah, I don't think they're gray at all. I don't know.
But you don't believe in that. You only believe in black or white.
I mean,
you don't believe in morally gray things.
Well, I don't think for me, I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you, I don't care if we find out in other books that there's like reasons and stuff. Listen to me. I'm never going to kill my son. There's nothing that's ever going to make me strangle my son. There's never a reason. There's never going to be a reason. And like 50% of this podcast will figure it out in like 3 weeks. All right. So we'll revisit that topic about whether, what's her name? Maggie Mai? Magpie?
Maggie Mai.
Maggie Mai. Terrible. And her poor husband, just thinking about their marriage, and he just has 1,000-year stare just on that show. Just
Frank Q.
For me, what I find unsettling about them is that, okay, you were lied to and you were told that the way to survive is by killing other people. But like, I think if you had said the same thing to Carl,
yeah, he
wouldn't have done it. He seems to care so much like about the amount of human lives that are dwindling every day, despite like the astronomical numbers. I mean, when we watch the news, you see bad stuff happening to people all the time, and it's very easy to get desensitized and not really care. And I could see a lot of people in the dungeon like disassociating from that number and not really thinking about those as actual people. But Carl like genuinely cares about every human that he interacts with. So I mean, I'm sure their personalities will get kind of developed later, but just the idea of being told like, okay, the only way for you to survive is to become a murderer. I would like to think Dakota's a really good person, and he would say no.
The thing is that, and the way that I see this is that obviously the tutorial guild masters are like all different, right? And Frank and Maggie were told this. You know, obviously Carl was thinking that everybody got the same kind of like general tutorial that he did. Obviously that's not the truth. So the way that I'm coming at it is that if I'm told this at a tutorial guild, that means that literally anybody that's coming up to me is probably going to want to try to kill me. So I'm going to go kill them first before they kill me. That's the way I see it. I'm going to be real with you. If I'm in a place that I don't know what it is, this is a new place, and they come in here and they'll be like, hey, the only being that you know is that knows what's going on in this place says, look, it's kill or be killed. You're going to be the one, the other person's going to be the one that's going to die, I'm going to be dead.
I have to disagree. If somebody told me like, if I was into the dungeon, they're like, you have to eat a poop hot dog or you die. Like, I would just not eat it. I'd die. Like, I'm fine with dying. There are things...
That literally is not relevant at all.
No, okay. But like, all right, what I'm saying is if I wouldn't eat something gross, I also wouldn't ever compromise my morals just so that I could live. Like,
so
I
would just die.
So then you would just die.
You would probably just stay on the floor.
Anthony. Like, I'm more with Anthony. Like, if I were in that position, I know I would be like Anthony, but I know if Dakota and I were together, Dakota would be like, hey, this is wrong. Dakota's the morally,
so
like...
I would not do that.
Dakota's this person who would talk me down. So I would be like a villain.
The way that I would go about it, like, in reality, is that, like, I wouldn't go in like guns blazing. I would legit be like stealthy. I would probably, I would obviously like pick mobs off, but as soon as I saw people going around, the defense is going up, and it's like, okay, if I see this person, if anything seems off, and I kind of like where, in a way, you saw like how Carl kind of picked up how things were like a little off about how they were. Like, I mean, you can kind of read people's intentions, like if you really pay attention. if that were the case, if I saw like obviously you see that Frank and Maggie, like they're trying to kill you. If I had the means to take them out, then I'm gonna either kill them or I'm gonna die trying. I'm sorry, but
I do think that Carl makes that decision as well.
He does, yeah. He does.
Yeah, he makes
sets that trap.
Which
But the trap was after they had attacked him. I don't think that he is clearly morally he's got a code,
yes.
you know?
He has a code.
One thing that I thought was like telling, but I mean, you could always like say things in hindsight, but when they were on the show and the like glurp glurp guy, I forgot his name.
Maestro.
Oh yeah, when Maestro like plays the videos of them interacting and killing the other crawlers, Carl said that all of the other humans that saw them like looked hopeful and like excited to see another person. But I see what Anthony's saying, because if you're feeling paranoid, you might not trust that. So I could see both sides. Like, obviously in hindsight, when you're watching behind the safety of a screen, Carl understands the rules better and actually has had positive interactions with human beings. We also don't know their jobs, but he did think they were some kind of police force.
You guys also don't know the full story yet.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
you can't tell us. So.
I can't tell you, but it is pretty crazy. That's one thing that I'm constantly amazed at. There's a lot of stuff in these books where I'm just like, there's no way he can write a good way around this. Or he set a certain thing up from this point of view that looks a certain way. There can't really be a good enough reason from this other person's point of view to do certain things, but he always proves me wrong. That's there's a lot of strengths and a lot of weaknesses with Matt Tinneman, and one of his strengths is just good old-fashioned storytelling and being able to jump around between character motivations. It's not just a one-sided Carl keeps winning for 7-8 books straight, you know? Like, it's not that at all. And it's not that everybody has the same mindset or the same personality or the same goals as Carl and Donut. So that's one thing that is always being tested, because just like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, every character at the table wants to do something else, you know,
yeah.
or is wants to do a certain thing a certain way, and it constantly foils his plans. But
actually, and I'm glad that you said that, because I kind of think that, like, so we do understand that Carl has a pretty solid moral standing, but sometimes the system doesn't allow him to be moral. Like the Hoarder, right? He realized that the Hoarder was obviously a person from his world. And he was like, there's nothing that he could have done except for like kill her. And he realized that. And
I think a certain point of it was, you know, like, I got to put this person out of their misery as fast as possible.
And there's that too. Bro.
The gym bro?
Yeah, reading, like, so I don't speak Spanish, as all of my coworkers know, but I was kind of understanding what she was saying when I was reading it, and there was like a couple of things I was confused about. Like, I thought she mentioned a relative, but I couldn't really fully understand. So then later, reading the Spanish translation of what the Hoarder was saying was absolutely heartbreaking. Yeah, and it just shows you like how I find that the AI just kind of lumps humanity into like redeemable characters, and then people that it just thinks are like losers, and has zero problems totally exploiting the people that it feels are losers.
Yeah.
And I find it's so frustrating, because it's like these are real people that are just mocked and brutally murdered for entertainment purposes. You could see it, like, why Carl is so angry and just like hates this cruel system so much.
Yeah, I felt bad in that moment. Yeah, because she was obviously like very scared. She thought she was in hell, which, I mean,
might as well be. Yeah,
I was like, essentially, right? She was like throwing up these cockroach things, and like, I mean, she said sorry if she was bad, and I felt really bad. I'm like, oh no, this sucks.
Yeah, and the part where she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I am, and like she can't control what she's like fighting and everything. Yeah, it's a tough one. There's a number of encounters like that throughout the series that is difficult, but
It almost kind of seems like a commentary on those types of shows that exploit people that society kind of looks down on, like The Biggest Loser or Hoarders, or I don't know, just like any of those shows where it's like clearly super mentally ill people.
Duck Dynasty.
And we're just like watching them for our own amusement and like laughing at the stuff that they say.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Duck Dynasty.
Pawn Stars.
You're just naming.
Just naming shows.
Deadliest Catch.
But it's like if something happens to those people, you know, which like a lot of times being on the show doesn't at all help their mental state. It's like, are we complicit by signing off on and watching these things? But because like the audience who is watching Carl are complicit in the deaths of all these people. It wouldn't happen if it weren't for the fact that they're watching.
But it also the story kind of preys on humanity's desire to see a victor. So from like a game show point of view, it's extremely common for us to watch, maybe not like us, but you know, for humans to watch a game show where you start out with 20 people and it gets whittled down to 2 and then 1, and then the 1 is the victor. You have stuff like Big Brother, Survivor, Love Island, and there's tons of them that have existed over the years, and some go on for years and years and years. I think of Survivor and Big Brother, namely, as like 2 of the biggest, that season after season they get a new cast of characters, and this is just another cast of characters for the intergalactic TV series Dungeon Crawler World. And I find that both like a fascinating introspective look at like humans and their desire to be entertained at the expense of others. And yeah, it's kind of like it's a criticism of our own entertainment industry. Yeah, I guess.
Do you think that this... I always got the feeling when I read Ready Player One that it was like meant to be a movie, but was a book first. Like, and there's a comic that I really like, Kill Shakespeare, and I got to know the author, and it's a graphic novel series, and they've made a couple of them basically where Shakespeare's characters come back to life, and they kind of fight amongst each other. And he kind of admitted like they were close to getting a pilot, and he had said that he originally kind of wrote it as a show, didn't get picked up anywhere, so then he turned it into a graphic novel. This feels like it's going to be so much better as a movie because you're gonna see like the pop-ups, and you get like, I feel like the visualization and the fighting even. And I'm not gonna lie, like I have to admit this, when I read Star Wars stuff, I go very quickly through the fight. Like I'm not like the intricacies sometimes of like every, you know, I'm reading, but I'm going like, I'm ticking up speed, you know, like
you want to get to the next story beat.
Yeah. If I'm listening, if I were listening, I'm probably going at 1.5 easily, but maybe even 2 times at that point, at those moments. But I know it'll translate well on a screen. And like, you know, I heard something about the show, like making it a show. And I think that it's going to be great as a show. To me, this screams seasons. Then there's, like, as you're describing, that the levels are going to be completely different. Kind of like the way you guys described White Lotus to me, like how it's different characters or something, or different, I don't know, different locations. Like I feel like this gives me that energy. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it was like originally meant to just be a book, or did this guy have aspirations to one day get it on the screen?
That's a tough question to answer, because it could just be that he likes, you know, writing this kind of stuff, and this is the medium that he prefers. Matt Dinniman got the idea of this series because he used to work at cat shows doing like drawings of cats.
Wait, really?
What?
I didn't know that. What?
Like he's the court, like the court artist. He's like the cat show artist.
The cat artist. Yeah, he's the cat show artist.
That's
apparently
awesome.
I love that he incorporated that into his book.
He's like, these cats have personality.
Oh yeah.
What if I had to survive with one?
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know that this was intent. Like, I think when you come up with an idea like this, there's always the possibility, and it would be fun to visualize and like to cast your group of characters for it. I think this book specifically would benefit from a movie and or a TV show because it follows two characters. But once you start getting like more party members and just characters that come in and out of the story, I think it can be pretty epic on screen. And I was reading book 7 and like somewhere near the beginning, and I thought if they ever get this far, this would be one of the craziest moments in sci-fi fantasy history on TV. It's just, I know that sounds extremely hyperbolic for a book about a guy in underwear running around with his cat. But I think what I was telling Jen this the other day, where I kind of realized that this series is basically the novel version, like a serialized novel version of the song Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine. And you guys don't really see the full picture of what I mean yet, even though it sounds like, oh yeah, they're definitely raging against the AI, blah, 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 they're raging against Borat. But the beginning of Killing in the Name, it starts with...
and now you do what they told you.
Yeah, and now you do what they told you. And then it goes into, like, the second chorus, and now you do what they told you, and you're under control. And now you do what they told you, and now you're under control. And then by the time, like, the song climaxes, it gets to, F you, I won't do what you tell me. And that's the part of the song that I'm in right now with Book 7. And it's the most epic rebellion story I think I've ever experienced in any medium ever. Star Wars, I'm looking at you. Like, it's that crazy of like a zero to hero for everybody kind of story. And I love that. But it all revolves around Carl. And
Wait, can I give a side note really quick?
You can, yeah, I would love that.
Side note, I'm in my pregnancy era right now. Not physically fit. But I will be so back when I'm hitting the Stairmaster to that song. That is my Stairmaster song. I sweat profusely and disturb the other people around me. It's just the best. That's my side note. Continue.
Yeah. They actually do blast that song, Killing in the Name, by Rage Against the Machine, in like a boss battle. They
nice.
They have like loudspeakers that they stun the enemy with that song.
Boss battle.
You can just stop giving these spoilers. I'm actually getting mad at you.
I trust me, like there's no way.
Yeah,
you might remember it when you finally get to it, but it's such an inane spoiler that like it doesn't mean anything to you at this point. But anyway,
episode 1, it's the Traveler's Gandalf.
Huh?
Hi guys, we're covering the Lord of the Rings new Amazon show, and by the way, Gandalf is the Traveler. Don't be fooled.
Okay, so
Bruce Willis is alive. No, he's dead the whole time, actually.
Oh my god, shut up.
I don't know what we're talking about.
You say that 6 cents.
Oh, we don't meet a whole lot of other crawlers at this point in the dungeon. And I think that that's kind of intentional. The writer wants you to really get to know Carl and Donut for the most part. Also, it's pretty clear that there's not a lot of crawlers that come from the Seattle area. They were in the midst of a giant snowstorm at the time. Everyone was indoors. It was very rare for anyone to have been outdoors. Rich, you were going to say something.
I'm not sure if this is bordering on spoilers, okay? But
you can ask me a question.
I have to ask you a question because I think I'll be angry if this happens. Like, Beatrice is not in the dungeon, is she?
My personal theory...
Rich.
I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer
Rich.
that.
Come on.
That's a pretty big...
Can I say my theory now?
You can say your theory.
So I called Dakota after like chapter 3 or something like that, and I was like, so Beatrice is alive, right? And he was like, I'm not going to answer that. And the reason why I think she's alive is because I'm wondering if this is like a Dante's Inferno reference. And
you're going to have to explain that, because you had to explain that to me. And I don't think when I looked it up, anyone had ever made that reference.
I don't know. It's just like I thought Beatrice was kind of like she was like a light or something.
Yeah.
She was like a guide or something. I don't remember it that well.
In Dante's Inferno, Beatrice was the muse and also like the guide for Dante going into hell and purgatory and then heaven. But
so as soon as I heard, because they refer to her as B so much, And then I was like, oh wait, because then like I've noticed Carl always calls her B, and Donut always calls her Beatrice, and
Miss Beatrice.
Miss Beatrice. And like it was when I heard her say Beatrice, I'm like, oh, she's alive. That I just thought that, but I could be completely wrong. And to be honest, I don't even remember Dante's Inferno like in that much detail.
You could be entirely wrong, and
but
I can't.
In Over the Garden Wall, Beatrice is kind of like a deceptive character who's also guiding them through the world, and that's where I was like, and we know that like they do a pretty good job at villainizing Beatrice, and she is kind of a bad person, and I wonder if there's going to be kind of a redemption arc later.
I think I'm just annoyed because like clearly like it's a full book and she's mentioned so much and there's no payoff in this book, right? And it's like F you, Matt Dinnerman, whatever is that his name? Did I get it right?
Dinnerman.
Oh, look at that.
It rhymes with cinnamon.
Dinnerman. So like I guess for me it's like it's not a short book. I wouldn't say. I don't know. Like I read it on my iPad, so it was like 436 pages or something. But my typeset is pretty big because I'm old, so it makes it easier to read. I just I did feel like a little gypped, I guess is what I how I feel about it. Like I felt like you'd get a little bit more before the book ended, and that's all.
I actually felt that way about a different character up until literally the very end. I was probably, I don't know, like a couple of chapters towards finishing the book, and I got really irritated that they didn't mention Agatha again. And I was like, I feel like there's something weird about that. I actually called Dakota and I was like mad because I'm like, they painted Agatha to be this like really, Agatha's also like kind of a witchy name. And I thought like, oh, this is a character of importance. Just the name alone, it's just like a heavy name.
Did you think it was like, her all along?
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing. Agatha all along. Yeah.
I called Dakota and I was like, I feel like they really breezed past the fact that Agatha was edited out of the footage. That seems very notable and very important, and everybody was just like, yeah, I guess it just didn't work with their narrative. And it's like...
And only Chris noticed, the guy who doesn't speak at all.
Yeah, I don't know. And then literally I was actually irritated by it, and then a couple of minutes later, she comes back at the end of the book, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
So what are your current thoughts on Agatha? Like, Anthony, what are your thoughts on Agatha as a character?
It was interesting. She did seem to be a crazy old lady, or crazy homeless person, but she very well could be a part of the, all the people that are a part of the dungeon that are not crawlers, like the NPCs. I mean, they were there living amongst the humans, so she could have been one of them, but like just experiencing the crawl. So, I mean, we'll see. It is interesting that she popped up with some stuff that she probably shouldn't have had in her cart.
And she knew that she shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think she's more than just like an immigrant alien. I think it's a little bit more.
I thought that we got like an explanation that she like her race. What are they called? It starts with a V.
The Valte. It's not a race specifically.
No, that's the company, right?
It's a company.
Oh, it's the company. But like, didn't what's her name? The lobster lady with the big tits.
Odette.
Didn't Odette like say that they're parasites or something, and they can like go into
So the
people?
Valte is owned by sentient brainworms that take over the host body and basically become that thing. We do not, as of where you are right now, have confirmation that
that's what's happening.
That Agatha is a brainworm controlled individual, because there are people in the Valte employ that aren't controlled by brainworms.
Oh, okay.
So we don't know.
So I'm
that
making
yet.
some major assumptions.
No, I mean, that's a good assumption. Pick apart as many threads as you want. I can't say too much about Agatha because I still don't fully understand her.
In book 7?
In book 7, I just got like some really a wrench thrown in my Agatha theory and floored.
You know you're going to make me do, right? You know what's going to happen? Tomorrow is my last day of work, ladies and gentlemen. All right? and I'm going to go full data from Star Trek and just download these things into my brain. And by next podcast, I might be past you, Dakota. That's going to be my goal. I'm actually going to try to read so much that I pass you by next Wednesday.
I beat you with this book. I was really proud of that, but I wanted it to be documented in the podcast.
If I can read while I drive to work, I would be crushing it right now.
You can.
But I can't. No, because I'll remember. I'm sorry. So I will say that I will never be able to do the audiobook. That's just not. I read. I have to see the words. It sticks with me. I go over things. I make notes. I ask questions as I'm doing it. I don't do that with spoken word. The only I told you
So I do
guys.
both. I actually do both.
At the same time.
read
It's
along.
called having a big brain, Rich.
I actually read along. I would
Wait, you have
listen
the
to...
book open while you're listening?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That I can't do because I get I need to move around or be driving or something.
Oh no, yeah. See, the thing is that if I get distracted, my brain will stop listening to whatever it is that I'm listening to, and if I try to do too much, then the ADD will not lock in on what's being said.
I was watching. I had to have something on, a noise to distract me as I was silently reading. So I put on the soccer game in Spanish. And the great thing about that is when something's gonna happen, you hear the audible in Spanish. They're like, "Hey, and you're like, okay, now I look up." So it was fantastic. That was actually a great way for me to do it. But yeah, it'll be. I don't know. I there's a part of me that also wishes that we could keep doing the series and then you guys switch to a read and see how maybe changes how you enjoy or not enjoy the book. I don't know.
Dakota and I found out a pretty big benefit actually to reading the book. Dakota's brother Noah read the book and he was talking about a scene that neither Dakota nor myself remembered. Dakota called me and he's like, "Hey, do you remember a scene where Lorelai and Rory get more sentient or something?"
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, "So you read it. We didn't have that in the audiobook.
Oh.
So we have to figure out if you could actually send me whatever you read it on, because I would like to go and read that scene. I have no idea what happens there."
Yeah, it's like an extra scene that they added to the end of the book where I think it's for the reprints. They have added an extra scene in every book, which is kind of frustrating because now I'm 7 books deep and I don't have access.
Well, you mean
those,
the
so
epilogue or there's an actual
So there's an epilogue to this book, and the epilogue is them back on Odette's show.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They're talking about the Snick.
Yeah, I read
But
that.
there's something after that's added in the reprints of it.
Oh.
Where I think it's something called. Hold on, I have it up. Right.
Yeah, let me know if this is in your copy, Rich.
No. So my copy ends. I'm looking at it right now. I just pulled it up on my iPad. My copy ends with new achievement. You read the book, and the next book
Yeah, it
is
says
out.
it's over, yo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine
'Cause
doesn't have
I
that.
have the like I said, I read along while I listen, and I would have noticed that if it got cut off anywhere, and it literally stops where Rich is saying. I don't see any.
It's called, the scene in question is called Backstage at the Pineapple Cabaret. And it has an interesting, I haven't read it yet, but I guess my brother told me about it. He thought it was interesting. And I was just like, yeah, I remember that. But I didn't actually remember that.
No, I was going to listen to
where
this.
basically Rory, the goblin shamanka from floor 1, has a sort of third wall breaking experience where she is now understanding that she is just a character in a game or in a system, and she's kind of breaking out of the matrix basically, and not physically but mentally she's starting to realize this is kind of like a simulation. And it's important narratively, I think, moving forward. It doesn't really become, I have not met up with this character Rory past that point, but it is an interesting idea that the NPCs are kind of gaining consciousness.
So yeah, I would really like to go and read that. Did you guys get the reference with why the goblins were named Rory and Lorelai?
From
Yes.
Gilmore Girls.
Oh, okay. I guess
No, like I couldn't even believe that there was not one reference that I didn't get. Like I was like, man, like this covered it so well, like this tunnel. But then you said that you didn't get the A-Team reference, which is so depressing because the A-Team was known that every single episode they would get into some trouble, and then they would essentially like be locked somewhere that had like lots of equipment. You're like, oh, here are these steel-plated beams, and they would find a blowtorch, and then they would just make something, like every episode. And there was a great, awesome, like, song that played, like, badass rock, and like, and then they would, like, you would just see them banging and clanging, and then boom, they got an amazing thing that's going to save the day. And that's what Carl does. Like, it's kind of absurd. I don't know. It's so good. Like I'm telling you, I was it's like if you meet it's like the first time you meet someone maybe, and you're like, oh my goodness, like, is this person really this amazing, or have I just been hoodwinked? I don't know.
I like how he made like Molotovs and like bombs, and they the dungeons, like, you know, giving him a cut for every time somebody makes and uses it, even though they're like ripping him off. It's like, I think he gets
like 25% or something like that.
There's a 25% tax, but it also gets rounded up. So like, if he has 5 coins, if he were to cash it out, I think he only gets like a 1 coin in the exchange.
Yeah. It's called Carl's Jugaboom or something like that.
Can I ask one question that's going to make me sound very naive?
Please.
The daddy tax joke. I don't get it.
I wondered the same thing. I didn't get it either.
The daddy tax joke.
So she says that, like, that Beatrice used to say, like, oh, it's the daddy tax. And then he's like, what is that supposed to mean? Carl says that. And then, like, at the end of the fight, she's like, oh, just so you know, Miss Beatrice used to say that about you. But I was like, am I just too old? Like, is this, like, old mogging? I
don't get it. Yeah, I don't.
Is this young maxing? Like, I didn't get it. Gooning? I don't know.
You got young mugs, you know. I was just like, or like when I went over that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess
it isn't important. It's not something that comes up again, so don't worry about it.
I thought like maybe that was supposed to make it seem like she didn't actually want to sleep with him, and she was just like kind of like, oh, I guess I have to do that sometimes. But then I thought like maybe it was like Princess Donut misunderstanding. You know what I mean? Like, when I eat cheese, I give my dog the cheese tax. It could be something like she, like, left the last cookie for him. It could be anything. But I think Carl strikes me as somebody who is insecure in a lot of ways. And I mean, what guy wouldn't be after all of the hits that he takes from this cat on a daily basis? Like, especially, like, when the old guy pees on the wall. And she's like, yours isn't nearly that big. Like, he just takes constant hits from this cat. Your girlfriend was cheating on you. Or as much as I'd love to see Carl disappoint another woman, like, just endless hits from the cat. I understand, like, anybody would feel insecure. But then I wonder if sometimes, you know, what Donut's saying might not actually be as bad as it seems.
We should talk a little bit about some of the side characters, because I think some of them are kind of important moving forward. What did you guys think of Mordecai?
Love him. Love the name. Love that he looks like Master Splinter. I feel for him.
Until he doesn't.
Yeah. He might be my... I don't know. Like actually, if you were to say pick your favorite character, I would probably purposely be weird and not. I mean, obviously, like, you're supposed to like Carl and Donut, right? Like, that's just easy, right? So, like, to me, like that's too easy. Like, I'm gonna go with Mordecai because, like, I don't know, like, I get it, you know, and I love also as somebody who like is scared of like authority and follows the rules, like, but wants to help people. Like, I like Mordecai. I love him, you know, because he's like, I really shouldn't. Yeah. All right, come closer. You know, like, and that's
like actually Rich's teaching style.
Yes, that's literally kind of how I work at work. You know, I'm like, come on, get over here. Shh. You know, like, no receipts. You know, nobody can catch you. So I don't know. I love Mordecai, actually. I really, really do. And there's something about that name for some reason that I also particularly like. So I don't know. Maybe that's a name.
I had a weird experience with the name.
Mordecai Lopez sounds like it's got a nice ring to it.
Oh. That's a great thought. So when I was listening to it, they described Mordecai as being like this rodent, And I literally thought to myself, that sounds more like a bird name. And then like very shortly after, it's like, I'm actually more of a bird person. And I thought that was so weird. And then
He's a skyfowl.
He's a skyfowl. And I was like, why the heck did I think the name Mordecai was a bird name to begin with? And then I realized that in the Royal Tenenbaums, the like hawk is named Mordecai. And I'm like, is this... Now I'm like looking for a reference in anything, you know?
There's also
The regular show.
Regular show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never
Mordecai.
seen the regular show.
He's a
Yeah,
blue jay.
the blue jay in there is named Mordecai.
So it's probably more likely that
That's
than,
probably more
than the bird in Royal Tenenbaums. But I thought it was so odd that I was like, rat seems like a bird name to me.
What did we think of Zev, their PR agent, the Kuatine PR agent?
I love when she's explaining what fan fiction is to Donut. And she's like, the show never ends. Gossip Girl never ends. It's the best.
I do like that Zev also likes Earth programs like Gossip Girl and everything, so they kind of bond a little bit there.
I like that Zev kind of shows us that there are consequences even for the administrators, which shows why Mordecai is so paranoid and
Right.
anxious. Like, he's very careful with his word choice because Zev messed up early on and kind of warned them that the old dude was peeing on the wall.
Yes.
And that almost cost her quite a bit.
I forgot about that, yeah. What about Audette?
Oh, that's amazing! I love the reveal when Odette comes out of the suit, right? Like it's like the description of like her breasts, disgusting. Just like had me thinking about like because of that description, I had like this visual, right? I have this crazy visual, and I immediately disliked the person because of the visual that I associated in my brain, and then like the reveal is that it's fake. Which is amazing. But then I think my favorite part about the reveal is also that they have to kill like a sentient, like they have to kill a creature every time to do this, you know? It's like, we gotta kill a crab every time we do it. So I don't have a voice for Audette, right? But for some reason, Audette slightly in my mind is kind of like my mother-in-law. Like she's like this older white woman voice who smoked way too many like long cigarettes over her times.
It's pretty close, actually.
You know, like I'm trying to think of no, I can't. I'm not grabbing it. There's a kids movie somewhere where like the kind of a guide type mentor is like an older woman with a raspy voice, and that's just kind of what I picture. So I wonder if I kind of almost want to peek at the audiobook to hear if I'm right, but that's how I hear her, and I've fallen in love with her. So really, it went from like curtain wearing weirdo to like nice. To like kind of like gravelly older woman, like kind of like a B. Arthur type. Actually, I could kind of see her being like that in my head.
Okay.
I also love about Audette how like the beauty standards are so unrealistic and like actually quite repulsive in real life, which is how like I feel like we're kind of entering that realm where like certain groups of people just look so unnatural and so different that if you see them in real life, it's like uncanny, but on the screen for some reason that's acceptable and normal.
Yes.
He was like at one point when he's like looking at her boobs, he's like, her body could possibly support those.
I think they're just like on the table. And
Yeah, there's
he says
resting on the
that
table.
the areolas are the size of DirecTV satellite dishes.
What an image, boys.
Yeah. On top of a giant crab with the face of a praying mantis. I love Odette. But I think that she's an interesting character in terms of you never really know what her goal is, you know? Like she claims that it's all about the money. I think that the first time they meet her, she mentions that it's all about the money, but I don't personally believe that. I didn't believe it the first time it's brought up to me.
Because of like her affection for Mordecai. I think that like really brings a lot of humanity to her.
There's definitely some backstory there that needs to be explored a little bit. Who else? I think we should probably talk about the old folks. You know, we have the other main crawlers that, outside of like Frank Q and Maggie Mai, are this group of the retirement home people and the people who are running the retirement home, who are trying to keep these old people alive long enough so that they can like choose a class and like potentially heal some of their mental ailments and stuff and their goal is to just get them down to the 3rd floor so they have a fighting chance. And I love that. I think that's such a bizarre character group to introduce into something like this.
There's some of this that to me is a little heavy-handed in the writing, and like this is such a this is such a way to make him a sympathetic character. You know, like he's such a good dude that like he even like helps the elderly when like his life is on the line. Like it's actually like the opposite of like you have Frank and Maggie Mai who kill their own kid, right? And like I mind you, this is one book, right? But like it's a longer book, right? So you think some things could be a little bit more resolved. So you have them being like just pure evil because they killed their kid, and then like you have him as like a beacon of hope because he helps the elderly, even the guy who pees on the wall when he's told like if you don't like also like hey if you don't pee you're gonna die. And I love that the guy's like whatever, you know, like he does it anyway. It just
I mean it's an old dude. You can kind of. If you've ever been to a retirement home, you know, like, there are those people who are just...
They're just going to do what they do.
They're just going to do what they do. There's the guy that pees in the corner every single day. So I didn't mind that when it came to Jack peeing on the wall. In fact, I actually appreciated Jack peeing on the wall because it brought into the story a crazy amount of action and intrigue, and how the heck are they going to get out of this one?
The one character with the old people that I am the most interested is probably Imani.
Imani.
Yeah, I feel like she does what needs to be done, and she's just kind of... She's keeping busy. She's just staying busy. She killed a few old people because she was like, this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's kind of...
That's like she took like a big hit with that.
Yeah, that's actually like a kind of a messed up introduction to that character. Like Carl doesn't trust her immediately because she has 10 player killer skulls above her head, but we find out that no, these were just individuals who could not have survived at all in the dungeon, and that's gotta kill anyone.
Yeah, I think like of the characters, I do think the end of the book attempts to redeem Frank Hugh and Maggie. But with Imani, like, she is genuinely a true neutral. It was
pragmatic.
Yeah, right? I don't know if Carl would have made that move or if he would have killed everybody attempting to save those old people.
Wait, did I miss something? Did I read too fast? How did Frank and Maggie get redeemed?
It's not that they explicitly redeem them, but at the end of the scene where they're on the show, just you've brought it up multiple times, like Frank's just like stare of despair, and the wife feeling like the only thing she has left is vengeance on Carl. I feel like it shows that everybody in this world, even if you're a villain, you're still a victim of the situation.
That is something that the series is very good at doing. Even characters that you
and even
hate.
in that moment, without really dialogue or anything. And I like the mutual, all of them decided we're not going to participate in the interview. Like Frank Hugh and Maggie honestly probably needed the ratings and should have, for strategic reasons, hammed up the situation in order to get more love, get more views, likes, all of that stuff, or whatever. I forget like the verbiage. But they're clearly very disturbed by what they've experienced. And I thought that scene added to their humanity without redeeming what they did. It's obviously still wrong. But I do think it portrayed them as more human because they went along with Carl's plan to decline the interview live.
Yeah, so one thing that's really impressive about the series is that you do run into a ton of characters who you don't like. It's written in a way that you're not supposed to like these individuals. Carl doesn't like these individuals. But at the end of the day, when the bell tolls, they're still human. And they have a story. And the writer usually tells you a little bit about that story. And I think that is one of the strengths, is that like even the characters that you think, wow, I can't wait to see that guy eat it. It doesn't always, it's bittersweet. It's really not like always exactly what you, it's never what you expect with this series, to be
Sounds like a Jamie Lannister fan. Well, he redeemed himself. Yeah.
I don't think.
I mean, I don't want to spoil Game of Thrones, but he did up until a certain point, and then he unredeemed himself.
The unredeemer.
So yeah, so there's a couple other characters that I don't know if they're necessarily worth talking about, but Brandon and Chris, the brothers who worked at the retirement home, there's a couple like named retirement people. I think Ellie is one of them. Ellie McGibbons.
She's the one who's always hitting on Carl, right?
She's the one that's always hitting on Carl. We have Jack, but I'm pretty sure Jack dies. Yolanda dies.
Yeah.
Trying to stop Jack.
Yeah, by the elemental gets completely eviscerated.
Before we close out this podcast, I think it's important that we talk a little bit about Carl's strategic nature, because that ultimately is the strength of the character. You know, like, not only that he wants to help everyone, but he's the type of character that doesn't let no stop him. You know, like, in the beginning of the series, his catchphrase is "God damn it, donut," you know, and that's funny and everything. But slowly throughout the first book and well into the series, he develops another catchphrase that's more to himself than anything. You know, he's like, "You will not break me. I will break you," and that's like a mantra.
We haven't heard him say "I will break you" in this.
He does actually say it in the first book. I checked.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
All right, hot chat.
Sorry.
No, I checked this so that
I think it's like
so you
right.
did
I think it's
spoil it?
right before they're forced to go on Deathmatch Extreme.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Glorp,
It's like he basically goes into the green room or whatever, the production room, and he's like, I'm not gonna do this, and he checks like the rules, and he's silently saying to himself like, I will not let you break me, I will break you, and that's what prompts him to go after Glurp. I can't remember his name. Sorry.
The Maestro?
Riley.
Yeah, and with the Maestro, like, that's the first time that we, like Anthony was saying, that's the first time we really see Carl come out of his shell and tell it like it is. But going back to what I was like originally talking about, Carl is a very strategic person. He will not let the universe break him. So they're given an impossible task of like figuring out a way past this level 93 rage elemental from the 13th floor. I'm not asking you guys to like rehash exactly what his plots are, because there are many plots that Carl comes up with that I'm like, I couldn't tell you what he did, but he did it. But what do you guys think of like his way of getting around certain things just by using the rules of the dungeon?
I love it. I remember playing Skyrim, and I'm not gonna lie, like just hiding, like just using like the mechanic of like running around a pillar in like a dungeon, and like allowing the AI to kind of like the skeletons or whatever to get caught up slightly, like in like some sort of like glitch, like with like the contact that shouldn't happen. Like I would like catch an exploit like that, and I'd be like, oh boy, here we go, and I would totally take advantage. So like that's one of the other things, like when I say like, it's not just, I know it's not written for me, but like I was like, geez, man, this is ridiculous. Like this is, like, I love this, like he's pushing the boundaries of the game. Like when you go, when you figure out like the little like cheap thing, like I love in Red Dead Redemption, people have figured out how to get to an island that you're not supposed to be able to, because like you carry like a cow in a certain position and it stops you from being shot by an invisible sniper. Like I love game exploits, and when he does it, I think it's really endearing.
Yeah, he just cheeses it.
Yeah, man. Let's go.
What does cheeses it mean?
Cheesing is like you using like a glitch or a bug as like an exploit to like beat a boss or something.
Oh, gaming
like you
terminology.
like sometimes people will like say that there's like a bug like in a boss room where like you can hide in a corner and like the boss can't follow you, so you could just spam them from like a with a ranged attack from a corner. Essentially, like that's what he did, but like with like parts of the game, like how mobs couldn't go to like other floors because if they tried they would get disintegrated. That's essentially like a cheese. And like he realizes that like he didn't want another one was the table, like how the table didn't break, and he didn't want to say it out loud because he didn't want that to get patched out.
Yes, actually, that's a good point that you brought that up. Not that he uses that exploit often, but the idea of like what he's allowed or what he chooses to say out loud so that certain things don't get caught and fixed before he's able to get himself out of a situation.
Does he use the table in this book? Because I actually forgot about that. What does he do with it? I don't remember.
He makes the I think it's when they're fighting the glob creature. He helps make like the dome structure with the table.
Oh, okay.
It kind of like buffers the explosion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the tentacles, with the mouth.
Yeah. The crack Karen. I kind of like that it's just like a Karen, but a Kraken. Anyway. So yeah, guys, final thoughts on the first book of Dungeon Crawler Carl. We'll start with Jen.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was apprehensive to think that this was something I was going to enjoy, but I actually ended up really liking it, and then having to pause and wait to record the podcast before starting the second book was a bit...
It's torture.
Yeah, it was a bit torturous, because I'm really excited about like them choosing their classes. I know some genuine stupidity is going to happen in that room. I feel like Princess Donut's going to be like, I want to do, like, I feel like it's going to be something absolutely ridiculous. And I also love that Carl was given the advice to let her choose first, and then he has to accommodate her choices because she's more powerful.
Right.
And I think it's going to lead to something super silly that I'm quite interested in.
But also, like, what did Audette? She kind of, like, told them to do a certain thing with their class selections. They don't say it in the first book, but they say...
They do. She said that he should focus on something that gives him, like, a mapping skill that's going to be able to allow him to see more of the map clearly earlier on.
Yeah, she does say that.
She does say that. But she also tells them something that you don't get full clarity on until the second book.
Well, she says something like make sure you don't pick something weird. Like, he should just stay a human. But also, wasn't it like, okay, so with your race, don't be adventurous, but listen to what the AI advises when it comes to your class. Like, it says you should pay attention to what the AI advises with your class.
Right.
Is that what you were referring to, or
not really?
Sorry.
There's no way that any of you are going to know what she was talking about. Okay. So I don't think you even like registered that. But anyway, Anthony, final thoughts on Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Well, Jen was apprehensive. I was rehensive in watching this. I mean, and listening to this. That's not a word. No, I was. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fun. I think that the audiobook really just added to the charm of the book. I think that I know that like that I mean that's a big thing with the fandom, right? Is the audiobook.
Even like the writer suggests that that's his preferred way for people to be introduced to the series. Yeah.
And I could see why, because Jeff Hayes, like, you can tell he has a good time with it.
Oh,
he he loves doing it. And
if they do not use his voice for the AI in the TV series, I don't know
what are they doing.
What are they doing? It is the most perfect voice for the AI, and
especially with the foot stuff.
Oh my god,
dude!
True horror story.
When I was hearing it, my mouth was just like, my mouth kind of dropped. I'm like, am I here? What?
Yeah, he starts talking like, and then those little piggies.
It's so gross. It is truly revolting.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
See, I don't know.
Okay, anyway.
And Carl sounds like a little bit like Patrick Warburton. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, but all right. So we got two people who like it. Rich, I'm going to ask you also how you liked the series, but I'm also going to ask if you had one gripe going into the next book. Like, are you worried about a certain aspect of the storytelling, or just that you're not going to get clarity on certain questions that you've had or anything like that?
So I think inherently with a book, I'm gonna teacher it a little bit. So I don't know how to explain it. Like when things that authors do sometimes take me out of the book because it reminds me that it's a crafted narrative, if that makes any sense. Like when I watch Star Wars, I'm not I'm just watching Star Wars. I'm just enjoying it. When I'm reading, I'm a little bit more like, oh, they're doing this. He's doing this to do that, right? So that's why I asked the Beatrice question. Like, I'm like, it's too heavy. Like, they're mentioning her too much. Something's gonna happen. Like, so I think that inherently with books, sometimes I kind of do that, but that's because it's my job. Right? Like, I don't often just let go in a book and go, because my brain's almost kind of always creating, like, if not a lesson plan, like at least questions that I would ask the rest of the group about what we're reading. Like, I'm just kind of always getting smacked in the face with those things. But, no, but I do really like it. There's a part of me that doesn't want to like it. Like I said, it feels like I should like it. It's written for like my demographic age group almost, right? Like it's a little bit older than you guys, right? Because like the A-Team and the Knight Rider stuff, like, like you might know it maybe, but like, I was watching it like on Saturdays,
Right, we didn't grow up on it.
Yeah. So
I actually would say it's a blend. It's millennial because there's Gilmore Girls and Gossip Girls. Like, I would say like, it's because Carl is 27. So essentially he's watching reruns when he's watching 18.
Technically, I will say Carl isn't the one who gets most of the references. It's usually Donut's references. So she's actually the one who's watching the TV, which is crazy. But anyway, so my biggest concern after reading the first book, and I did like a little review on TikTok, I think, where I just kind of talked about my thoughts. My biggest concern going past this was, is this it? Is this the story? Am I just going to follow them to the next boss and the next boss, and it's going to be slightly bigger bosses every single time? Is the dungeon going to get boring? Are they going to introduce new characters? Because, we do see some side characters on like the recap episodes that seem interesting. Like there's a crazy 13-year-old Spanish girl who has 2 Dobermans, and she's tearing it up.
Lucia Mar,
yeah, she sounds so cool.
There's
and then the like all-woman team,
Hecla and Brynhild's daughters.
Le Mouvement. No, are they gone? I can't remember.
Le Mouvement. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, except for like one guy.
Yeah, one guy got left.
Oh my gosh, that scene was so
left
sad.
crying because he got it was a borough boss, right?
Yeah.
Or city boss.
It was like a
city
clear
boss.
City
house,
boss.
right?
Yeah, it was a city boss. Yeah, it was just something that no like first or second floor crawler is going to be able to handle.
The borough
But
boss
also-
was the Tusklings. That was a borough boss.
But anyway, so that was my biggest concern going into the second book, is just like, this is going to get boring after a little while. They're going to get some achievements. They're going to get some new loot. They're going to go after another boss, blah, blah, blah. And I could probably do that for maybe 3 books, and then I would get tired. So I was that's what I thought going into the second book. And I was pleasantly surprised at the tone change. If and when we do a second book for the podcast, the second book in the series would be Carl's Doomsday Scenario. It'll be interesting hearing your guys' thoughts on all of that, like how the story has changed or the trajectory of the characters and the plot is changing. And by book 3, the setting is so vastly different from like what you're seeing right now in the first book that it's literally like you're taking characters from Smallville and you're putting them in like Futurama. It's like, it's so bizarre, like how the settings that the writer puts these characters in. And it's
Could you
really
imagine?
Genuinely fun. No, it's awesome.
Could you imagine like Lana Lang, like the most evil villain from Smallville, being on Futurama? That would be insane.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
What a villain.
thanks so much for listening to us here for our 160. You know what? Hold on. I'm getting a message from our sponsor. Oh, it's actually not a sponsor. I thought it was a sponsor, but
It is in fact a sponsor. It is Voodoo Ranger Blood Orange IPA this time. It's not juicy, but I honestly, you know what? They're not a sponsor, but I thought the can's really cool. If you guys see this, it's got Invincible versus Voodoo Ranger. So I thought it was pretty cool. And you know what else would be pretty cool? What do you think would be pretty cool, Dakota, if what happened next?
There's a lot of blood in this series. It starts from the get-go, as soon as heads roll in the first chapter. But so It's a juicy book, in unpleasant ways mostly.
Glurp, glurp.
Clerp, yes. So wherever you listen to your podcasts, whatever podcast application you are listening to us in, please be sure to give us a 5-star juicy review. And we'll be sure to cover another Dungeon Crawler Carl book very soon.
Oh, wait, can I ask one end question?
Sure.
So, like you could only favorite one person per party?
Favorite one person per party. What do you mean?
Isn't it like you can only...
I don't understand the question.
For the audience, can't they have to choose between Donut and Carl? Who their favorite is? Like if they want to support one?
I forget. I think it's important mechanics in the beginning, but...
Do you guys remember this, or am I just making stuff up?
No, I think you're right. Yeah, what's the question, though?
Because my question is, I wanted to ask everybody if you had to choose who was your favorite,
if you were
Donut
going
or
to favorite like one character over the other.
Yeah.
Okay. I think as of the first book, I would probably favorite Donut, just because it's a crazy, wild character. But that would just be for the first book.
Anthony?
It's tough because I feel like for most of the first book, I would say Donut, but by the end, you're like you see that there's something transitioning with Carl by the end. Like,
and anyone watching this like intergalactically would be like, how did that floor 2 guy just do that? Like it's almost like he's cheating. So I think people might switch their favorites at that point. What about you, Rich? What would you be favoriting Donut here or Carl?
Never a cat, sir. Never a cat. It'd have to be Carl.
Cat.
And it's not. It's me being like a little rich. Like I just
Sure.
like I want Carl. I like Carl over
Rich.
Donut. I like the fact that he's barefoot
Auntie.
all the time.
Yeah, our cat literally just walked up.
Yeah, I think my cat heard you and is offended.
Thank you so much for listening to us here for our 167th episode of Project
6-7.
Oh my god.
He was waiting for that one. 167. Anyway, next week we're covering The Sheep Detectives, a movie
Very excited.
with Hugh Jackman. Huge jacked man.
Wait,
huge jacked man. Yep.
you mean the Wolverine?
Bye, guys. Get out there and kill, kill, kill.